Hi everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar will be on the month-end processing. I will show you how to add recurring billing to your... Today's webinar will be on the month-end processing. I will show you how... Sorry about that. So I will show you how to add the recurring billing on the customer profile, where to add the debit order details, how to go through the month-end processing, and where to generate your debit order and download your debit order batch. So let's start with your customer profile. So once you've found your customer profile, you'll be able to determine the billing settings as well as add all your Radius data packages here. This will automatically be linked to your recurring billing section here. So to add a Radius data package, you will just click on add. You will add a username, generate your password, and choose your data package. After you've added the details, you can always, under the pricing details tab, determine whether the customer should be on monthly pricing. So you can just leave it on default product pricing, or you can change it to custom pricing, where you'll be able to amend the amount the customer needs to pay. So now that we have a Radius data package here, when we go to the recurring billing section, we can see here the product is and what the amount is. Here you'll also be able to see what the total billing for the customer will be for the specific month. You can always add other recurring billing items here, like your IPs or data contracts, etc. So next we have the billing details section. Here you'll be able to edit this screen, and then you can choose your default payment method. So we have debit order, EFT, credit card and cash as payment methods. If your client wants to pay via credit card, you can choose the debit order day, enter their banking details, what the account type is, as well as the account number. If your client wants to pay via credit card, there are 4 credit card vendors that are currently integrated with DataTill. This is SagePay, PayFast, PayPal, and VCS credit services or card services. After making your changes, you have to click on the Save Changes button, and then it will be automatically updated here. So from here, let's go to the month-end processing. You can find this under your billing heading, and then there's the month-end processing option. This billing settings you will need to set up for the first time under your billing setup. If you need to change your month-end cutoff, you will also need to do that under your billing setup. Remember that your month-end cutoff will determine your current billing range. It will determine these dates. Okay. So here we are going to do the billing period for June. So after choosing your month, just click on the update button. Then here we can see the steps that we need to take. We need to confirm the current period, archive the previous month's recurring billing, generate recurring billing entries, generate monthly draft invoices, push the invoices to Sage 1, and then generate and download your debit order batch. So let's start by confirming our current period. Here we can see it was for June 2018, and the invoices will be dated this and will be due on this date. If you are happy with this, click on the Confirm button. If you want to change those settings, please go to your billing setup to change it. Next, you will need to archive your previous month's recurring billing. You'll be able to see as we go on, the buttons turn green, and we can see by whom this was completed and when it was completed. So next you'll need to generate your recurring billing entries. So this will only refresh all items throughout the system that needs to be billed during that month. So to do this, just click on the Generate Recurring button, read through the information here, and then click on the Generate Now button. You will see it starts to run through all your customers while it's refreshing the recurring billing entries. Okay. Once it is done, you'll see recurring billing entries generation completed. So next you need to generate your draft invoices. You can do this by clicking on Generate Invoice. Here we can see the invoice will be dated this time and be due on that day. Okay, once it's completed, you will see at the top invoice generation complete. So before you push all these invoices to Sage 1, we would advise that you do some sanity checks, or you have some form of check in order to ensure that everything is correct, especially when you're doing this for the first time. So to find these invoices, you can go to Billing, Invoices, and here you will see a list of all your draft invoices. Remember that after this invoice has been pushed to Sage 1, you will not be able to edit them again. If the invoice has already been sent to the customer, you will need to create a credit note and then re-invoice the customer. Okay, here we can see that the reference is recurring invoice, the document date as well as the due date, and what payment method the customer is on. So from here, you can either generate each invoice on its own, so once the invoice has been generated, you will see that these buttons turn to grey. This means the invoice is now in its final state. Here we can see the invoice document number. This invoice can no longer be amended. You can always use these filters at the top to filter your list for specific customers. So if you go to your customer groups, you want to first check all your resellers. There we go, reseller. You can always check the invoice if it's not been sent to the customer yet and make any amendments. You can also you can use the push selected to Sage, which will only send all the invoices on the current screen. So if you're only able to see 10, it will only push 10 invoices. So remember to change this section here if you want to see more items on the screen. Then you also have the push all to Sage button. This button will allow you to either send all direct debit, credit card, cash or EFT invoices at one stage. So if we do the EFT and we click on the push now button, it will tell you that it's currently busy processing the outstanding invoices. It's also important to note that this is quite a lengthy process, as you probably have more than 20 customers, and this might take a while to complete. So now we can see all EFT invoices has been pushed through to Sage 1. Okay. The rest of the invoices, please do sanity checks, or please ensure that you have done the proper checks, because when it's done, it's done. So if you're happy with everything, you can always just say push all the invoices to Sage, or you can also, if you don't want to do any checks, just do it from here. So our month-end processing option is quite easy to do. You just need to follow the steps here. If you do not follow the steps, something might go wrong. Invoices won't get sent to the customers, etc. And as you can see here on your processing outstanding invoices, as your invoices get pushed through to Sage 1, you'll be able to see which ones didn't go through. You will be able to see this little cross here. You can always fix this by going to your Sage 1 sync data, or if all else fails, please contact our support center. They will be more than happy to assist you with fixing this issue. Okay. So our next step will be to generate your debit batch. To do this, click on the Generate button. You can read the information here. Please note that this is only invoices that have already been pushed through to Sage 1, only invoices that have been marked for debit order, and only invoices generated between these dates or the recurring invoice on the date of the 30th of June, or whatever the date on your recurring invoices is. If you are happy with this, click on the Generate Now button. So this goes quite quickly. And here at the bottom you can see all your debit batches has been generated for each one of your dates. So if you have multiple billing runs, this is not an issue. Here all your billing runs have already been generated. Okay. So if there are specific lines that you need to change their debit order amounts, etc., you can do this by going to your batch details. So you can either click on this button, or you can go to Billing, Debit Run Batches, and then click on the Debit Batch Details option. So here we can see all the customers. You can see the customer, the branch code, the account number, the total amount due, and the total amount that will be debited from their account. If you need to edit this account, you can do so by clicking on this little blue Edit button. Here you'll be able to edit the actual amount. If there's any issues with the account with the debit order details, you'll be able to see it as it's marked in red. And after you've made your changes, just click on the Update button. So when you go back to your billing, to your debit order batch, here we can see your batch. This screen is already automatically filtered according to the month that you are busy processing. So you can click on this. So after you've made any changes to your debit batch details, you'll have to click on the Regenerate Debit Batch button. As you can see here in red, you should never regenerate a debit batch once it has been sent to the bank for processing. Okay, so you can't send your batch and then make changes. So now if you click on the specific batch that you want to process, it will give you the option to download this batch in either the old SagePay format or the new SagePay format. You can then just send this to SagePay or amend it to or send it to your bank. Okay. So this is a Generate Debit Batch, your month-end processing. It's quite straightforward as it has all the specific steps that you need to follow. And once you've sent this, then it is finalized. So after you've submitted your debit order batches, you will not be able to delete or amend them. And the same goes for your recurring billing entries. Once the invoices have been finalized, you will not be able to amend them. Okay. So is there any questions about the debit order or the month-end processing